Welcome to Reading the Gospels Together for Thursday, June 11th, and today we're reading from Luke chapter 17. Now, there are three sections to this chapter: a short unit on discipleship, a story of 10 lepers, and then a large section on the coming kingdom of God. Now, the first section long puzzled me. It seems to be four completely unrelated sayings, but then I finally paid attention to the very first words Jesus said to his disciples. So, these are instructions concerning how to be good disciples and a healthy body of believers. The first saying is a warning. Don't be the cause of someone else's sin. As disciples, we're called to help, not harm, and to keep each other on the straight and narrow. It's better to jump off a bridge than to cause another person to sin, says Jesus. Now, this speaks to me, of course, as a clergyman. Like a doctor, our first rule needs to be do no harm, and that counts for everyone. The second saying is an instruction. If you do encounter sin within the fellowship of believers, it's important to give the offending party the opportunity to turn aside from their sin and to be offered forgiveness. While we're quick to point out wrongdoing, we're not so quick to offer forgiveness. The third is a statement about faith, the lesson being in order to do great things, it isn't about how much faith you have, but whether you have any at all. Don't let your own perception of the smallness of your faith prevent you from accomplishing a great deal for the kingdom of God. The fourth saying is a parable about service. Now, when people make excuses of why not to serve, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough faith, well, these parables or these sayings of Jesus are countering that. So often when we do something on behalf of God, a kindness to others, a service to the church, we expect to be thanked and congratulated. But Jesus says, now wait a minute, you're only doing your duty. Many of us consider our service to others and to the church as optional, but that's not how Jesus says it. It's our duty and an honor to be of service to God and to others. We don't have to wait for faith the size of a mountain to do that. As Jesus says, the size of a mustard seed is plenty. Now, the second section of this chapter deals with gratitude. We're told of the healing of 10 lepers, only one of whom returns to give thanks. And he was a Samaritan, an ethnic and religious group despised by the Jews of Jesus' day. Jesus says, weren't all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? Now, this is but one of many examples of Jesus praising the faith of foreigners, of those outside of the Jewish faith. He does so with a Roman centurion, with a Syrophoenician woman, with the Samaritan, to name just a few. It's a glimpse into the future where the followers of Jesus will come from all sorts of ethnic and religious backgrounds, not just Judaism. For me, the parable is also a powerful reminder of the need to be conscious of the way God blesses our lives with food, shelter, clothing, health, friendship, resources, and the like. It's important for us to recall these blessings every day and to give thanks to God for them. Taking blessings for granted is an impediment to faith. Acknowledging God's provision on a daily basis ensures a proper perspective on life, increases our faith, and fills our life with a positive attitude of gratitude. Don't forget to say thanks. Finally, the chapter concludes with a section on the coming kingdom of God. Now, the Pharisees who are talking with Jesus at this point, these answers are directed to them. The Pharisees know that Jesus teaches about the coming of the kingdom and that he's presented himself as having a role in its arrival. But they also know that it doesn't look like what they expected to look like. And so they ask him to explain his teaching about the coming of the kingdom. We shouldn't be surprised the fact that it's not like they expect it to be. John the Baptist asked a similar question for similar reasons. Now, it appears by the answer that Jesus gave that the Pharisees not only ask when the kingdom will come, but what signs will accompany its arrival. There was an expectation then that the kingdom of God would come as part of the day of the Lord, and that there would be cosmic signs welcoming its arrival. And the kingdom's coming tended to be portrayed in two ways. Some treated it as though it would come as a normal movement of history. God would raise up a Messiah from the seed of David or some other origin to deliver the nation. Others spoke in more apocalyptically oriented imagery about a figure who'd come from above with heavenly signs and great powers, and the heavens would split open, and so on and so forth. The Old Testament uses both sets of images. Now, Jesus begins his reply by saying the kingdom does not come with signs to be observed. He's challenging the idea that the kingdom's coming is marked with some dramatic cosmic display. You've heard misguided evangelists, for instance, talking about a blood moon or other such things as an example of this. Well, like them, the Pharisees' expectations need changing. They will not need to point here and there to announce that they and only they have found it, because the kingdom is in their midst. Jesus himself is the very manifestation of the kingdom of God. It begins now. The kingdom is among you, he says. Now, the Pharisees do not need to look for the kingdom's coming in the sky. It's already there in Jesus. If they would just consider all the evidence all around them that portrays the presence of God's delivering power, we're going to see some of it in the next chapter again with tremendous healings going on, they wouldn't be wondering where to look. As Luke has said in various ways, the time of fulfillment is present in Jesus. When we follow him, we're walking in kingdom territory. But the full realization of the kingdom is yet to come. It'll seem like a normal day, says Jesus, a time like any other, when the time for judgment will arrive. Speculation is pointless, he says. The time to join the kingdom is now. Now, tomorrow we're back in more familiar territory with some of Luke's more well-known passages. And as you read them, look for the attributes of a follower of Jesus: persistence, faith, humility, simplicity, self-sacrifice. Where are you in these parables, in these encounters, such as the one with the rich young ruler? We'll see you then.